We think that we should give every employee the opportunity to discover their strengths. It's a common language, what I almost call a relationship shorthand between people. Dixon asked the power question, how do you break the ground in getting CEOs, top leadership to buy in when there's no existing coaching culture? Fantastic question, Dixon. The short answer to that in my mind is the fact that you start with the business results about why we think this approach really works. We very seldom go to leadership teams and say, right, our solution is positive psychology, feedback, and by the way, we're going to coach you. Rather than saying, well, are you interested in high performance? Are you interested in engagement? Do you want to develop your people? And do you want to get a bottom line impact? If you're open to that, here's the approach that we suggest. If a leadership team is not interested in high performance, go figure. I mean, what can you do? But that's the starting point in our minds. Thanks, Bafrit. So when we look at employees discovering their own strengths, we really want to infuse strengths into performance conversations. You don't have to do the Clifton Strength Finder assessment to understand what people's talents are. There are clues to talent, much like we did the stand up and sit down. And you can start to see where people really play to their power and energy and show immense amount of energy. Those are the clues to talent, and we want to have them in the conversation. So rather than gap analysis and talking to people about what they're terrible at, let's reinforce what they're great at and help them to develop that space. Employees need the tools and resources to understand how to embed strengths. And we want to look at real behavior, not just words on a page. Some tactics, obviously the Clifton Strength Assessment we think is valuable in this space, from CEO to frontline team leaders to employees. Having an ongoing plan to incorporate new team members. So too often we train people and then we forget about onboarding the new folk, and celebrate your brand with strengths rather than wondering about what you're not good at. I think far too often management is equated with firefighting, resolving queries, solving people's problems, as opposed to how do we get the best out of them. So what do we want to do about embedding Clifton strengths? It's more than just discovery. We want to use it, and this is what why Margriet and myself really enjoy working with clients around Gallup. We want to name them, in other words, understand what you bring to the party. We want to claim them, understand how you use them in the workplace, and then we want to aim them. In other words, how do we intentionally use your power and edge to deliver great results? Lorraine saying also what you can add, offer the CEO to coach him first. Sometimes you may have to do a free session. You need to win him and show him the greatness. Lorraine, thank you. That's a great suggestion. We find that leadership sometimes is a very lonely position to be in. And so to offer him, I'm hoping also her, CEOs out there, the opportunity to engage with what they could potentially do well. They have the same challenges we do, which is about how do I really get great performance out of others. So what's the goal? So building a positive culture. So if we boost employee engagement and prevent further spikes in attrition by helping managers and individuals alike with strengths, you start to see some dramatic drops, 85% down to 8% in terms of attrition, 32% to 1% in terms of drop in scrap rate, the number of, say, for example, defective parts produced in a manufacturing organization, which is the example here of over 300 employees. So 85% down to 8% in drop in attrition, 32% down to 1% in defective parts. And what do manufacturers always hate? The artisans leaving for slightly more pay to somebody else, and the whole idea of having to rework or scrap when you're doing just-in-time manufacturing. So how did they go about creating a more positive or productive work environment? Well, they introduced Clifton Strength Finder to the employees. They provided strength-based coaching support to employees around understanding their strengths. They required all employees to participate in strength discovery sessions, in other words, understanding their strengths. They built strengths as a common topic for the production floor. And they integrated strengths into conflict resolution, project management, and importantly, collaboration. And one of the things that we think is really powerful around building a culture is that we want our teams to collaborate more effectively. Most organizations that come to us say that how do we get communication? How do we break down silos? How do we get people to collaborate better? Well, the answer in this example around manufacturing, I think, is obvious. Profitability increased by a staggering 233%. Profitability increased by a staggering 233% and productivity by 200%, even without increasing the workforce, leading to record revenue gains for the organization. Right, so guys, I mean, the numbers stack up, 85% to 8, 32% to 1, profitability 233, and productivity 200%, just in this example. So just to add to what Dixon and Lorraine are saying, these are numbers that executives are really interested in. And in actual fact, they're so large that they may go, well, how did you do that? I mean, that's amazing. So please use your chat function now to provide feedback on the following to us as we go through. What performance metrics in your organization would a strength-based approach help to improve? How aligned are your senior leaders to create a culture of strengths? And then what barriers exist for your employees to use their strengths every day? Please use your chat button and please share some of the insights around that as we continue with our process. So performance metrics. How aligned are your leaders around the idea of giving positive feedback? And what barriers could exist in your organization around some of the things that we are suggesting?